can, we'll start calling the meeting to order and then, okay, alright, this is an investigatory committee meeting in which we are deposing 3 individuals.
Very good.
And here are the individuals' names. I'll write down committee member names. Okay. Everyone ready to roll? You wanna call the meeting to order?
I call the Dumont DPW Investigatory Committee take depositions this evening. On the committee for Dumont is Matt Garrett, Councilman, Councilwoman Ellen Zemichansky, and myself, Paul Mann, Councilman. Everybody knows Jack Eckel is being deposed this evening. Are you ready? You're going to be ready for council, or are you going to be deposed this evening?
We'll be here the second week of November.
I think what we'll do, if everyone's okay with it, is we'll just swear you guys in, and you can basically just state on the record that you're present this evening.
Yep.
And
we're here as members of the public.
Okay.
We are not being sworn in today.
I was going to say you could just state that you don't want to make a comment without counsel.
No, we are not being sworn in today.
Okay.
Okay, so before we start, I'd like to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Rise. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Can I ask just a question before you get started? Dan, Don and Mike are not going to answer questions tonight?
No, they're here as part of the public.
But why wouldn't they answer questions, I guess I'm just asking. Don, sorry.
Because they don't have counsel with them this evening. They're represented, but their attorney is not able to be here this evening. We'll go into that. I'll read a record that I'll read a letter into the record that their attorney has sent over to our office this afternoon, and we'll address obtaining testimony from them at a future date.
We're just asking questions. I mean, this is just question and answer thing. You know, use an attorney.
Well,
This
you know, they have the right to counsel,
access.
so we can't force them to answer our questions without counsel.
Nothing comes about it. What I'm trying to get at, I guess. All we're doing is just
They
asking.
I understand what you're saying. However, they have the right to an attorney. We'll honor that.
I'm just okay.
All right. That's the game. Okay. So, evening, Jack.
Yes.
Okay.
Just call before we start.
Actually,
yes.
I did talk to your attorney, your boss. I told him that I am on medication, and that I should state so on the record that I am on medication, and it's may blog my memory at times.
So are you asking to be
no,
continuances for your?
If you want to ask me some questions, I'll certainly try to answer them.
If I may step in, what I'd like to first do is just read into the record the correspondence that we received from Mr. Galantucci on behalf of Mr. Liccamelli and Mr. Wynant. That should just take a moment. After I do that, we can move on to obtaining Mr. Eckel's testimony. If that's okay with everybody. Okay.
Matt, you good with that?
Is that okay with everyone? Okay. Okay, so as everyone is aware, we are here this evening pursuant to subpoenas that were issued to Mr. Liccamelli, Mr. Eckel, and Mr. Wynant in order to obtain testimony with regards to the DPW remediation investigation. Let the record reflect that Mr. Liccamelli and Mr. Wynant are present this evening. However, counsel is appear with them. I would like to, at this point, read a letter that we received today via fax from Mr. Gallantucci on behalf of Mr. Licamelli and Mr. Wyman, and it reads as follows. Dear Mr. Pastor, thank you for your letter of October 10th, 2011. So there is no misunderstanding, however, the scheduling problems have been entirely related to my schedule and not those of my clients. They are and remain willing to fully cooperate with the committee's inquiries. I and they would be available on any date in the second week of November if you feel their attendance is necessary. As to the apparently pressing time factor based on one committee member's leaving the council, I would point out that although the municipal council clearly determined to investigate this matter in the fall of 2010, it was not until April 5th, 2011 that the committee was established by the council, and not until September 8th, 2011, less than 2 months before municipal elections, that the committee subpoenas were issued to my clients. Under such circumstances, it is not unreasonable to suggest that the urgency of the timing was not incidental to the upcoming elections. As indicated, my clients are fully committed to cooperating with the committee. However, as I have indicated to you previously, they are in possession of no documents related to the operations or functioning of the DPW during their terms of office. During those times, all files were in the hands of the various township attorneys and/or the various township administrators who served from the late 1980s to the present, which are certainly available to the committee. All information relating to the matters being investigated was conveyed to my clients, as well as all other members of the municipal council who served during this period, by those township attorneys and/or the township administrators, upon which information and advice my clients relied. My client's testimony, therefore, would relate solely to that information and advice. As indicated, my clients are ready, willing, and able to cooperate with the committee by testifying before the committee in the second week of November as to matters within their knowledge, as provided to them by the municipality's attorneys and administrators during this period. Indeed, if the committee, for whatever reason, is not willing to make time for this testimony, they would be willing to appear at, before, any other appropriate investigative agency or officer at that time without subpoena. I would anticipate that if the committee's purpose is to obtain a fair, impartial, and complete record, they would agree to hearing from my clients. Please advise if the second week of November is acceptable to the committee. Very truly yours, signed Robert L. Gallantucci. Okay, according to Mr. Gallantucci's letter, he has made it clear that his clients, Mr. Licamelli and Mr. Wyman, would be willing to cooperate in the future when he is able to appear with them. He has also indicated that they would be willing to respond without subpoena. So I think at this point in time, it's our office's recommendation to the committee that we pursue scheduling these once Mr. Gallantucci is available. Based upon his comments, we do not need to go through the formal avenues of a subpoena in order to get that, and we should discuss at a future date, when everyone is available to obtain these testimonies.
I just have a question.
Mm-hmm.
What's Mr. Gallantucci's background? What type of attorney is he?
He's a criminal defense attorney primarily.
This is not a criminal case. Why are we doing a criminal attorney in the question?
I mean, that's not for us to answer.
All good questions, man.
They
What?
Good question.
No, I'm just,
Oh, I mean, this is just basically to
we're
obtain
just asking
information.
if knowledge that was given before by them, if they remember, maybe what happened, if maybe somebody else dropped the ball, or...
Megan, just one comment for the record. We are not an all one-party council, and it has been a unanimous vote through the council to proceed with these hearings. So it's, I'm not quite sure how something could be political when it's two parties.
Only one member of the other party.
I understand that, but I'm saying that
Well,
one member.
that's that majority.
I didn't
Just
say
one member.
majority.
No, she said we had a majority
Yeah.
agreement.
Yes.
Didn't say we had a majority party.
Thank
She
you.
said we had a two-party
Yeah, but you
council.
have just one person.
She
Yes,
did
I
say it
know
that
the
way, but
majority
she said a
makes it.
majority of when to go through with this.
So if I understand this, Mr. Locatelli and Mr. Wynick would be willing to give testimony without a subpoena. Or with a subpoena, is that either way, or?
Based upon Mr. Gallantucci's letter, it appears that they would be willing to provide testimony in either event.
Okay.
But not
But
tonight.
only with their
Correct.
attorney present.
Correct.
That was with me also, way back when, last year, which I said, ask me any questions you want, I'll come in and answer them. I didn't need to be served a subpoena.
I appreciate that, Jack. Thank you for that. Okay, we'll take that under advisement, and we'll figure out, the time schedule.
Okay.
I mean, I can't tell you right now because this is all news to me. Okay?
Okay.
We'll have to meet and pick a date.
Sounds good.
Not really,
No?
no.
Why not?
I want it done,
So do I.
but I don't, Don, please don't take this the wrong way, but I just wanted to get some of the answers to what was in his paperwork answered. I'm not going after anybody, nobody's going to jail, it's just questions that were asked already, and we wanna settle it. 2 more weeks, or 3 more weeks, and then what, do they do it again, and
Yeah, I think we've been quite accommodating to the attorney here. I think that, we understood his, situation, and we allowed for that by pushing this out further than anybody had anticipated. Had Mr. Locatelli and Mr. Wynick, responded originally when they were asked to, we wouldn't be sitting here tonight. But they chose to go the route of having an attorney, which is their right. I'm not saying they don't have that right, they do have that right. And so, you know, we're not here because we wanna be here. We're here because the situation presents itself and we're dealing with this. And so, you know, I think that, I agree with Matt, you know, we're just trying to find answers and to see if there are procedures and that need to be looked at going forward so this doesn't happen again. It's simple as that. And so to that end, you know, we'll have to do what we have to do. I mean, I don't particularly care that you find out at 3 in the afternoon that the attorney can't make it. We've been very accommodating to this attorney, and he should have at least had the decency of letting us know on Friday that he couldn't do this today. You know, we all have lives. You know, I don't have to be here, Ellen doesn't have to be, none of us have to be here. So I don't think it's very fair that the attorney decides at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, oh, I'm still involved in the case. He had this case on Friday afternoon.
didn't we give 3 dates?
Yeah.
And then they accepted this date? And
All right. That being said,
Okay, so let's move on to Mr. Eckel.
okay.
What we need to do is have the court reporter swear him in, and then, I would like to, just explain to him the deposition process, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Raise your right hand, please. Solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Okay, Mr. Eckel, I introduced myself earlier. My name is Megan Tomlinson. I'm an attorney in the state of New Jersey, and I'm here from the law offices of Craig F. Pastor and Associates, and we are special counsel to the DPW Investigatory Committee. You're present this evening in response to a subpoena that the committee had issued seeking testimony from you with regard to the DPW remediation that occurred in Dumont. So I first want to just explain to you.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Were you appointed by the mayor and council as special counsel?
Yes.
You are, by resolution?
Actually, I'm not sure.
Because I believe the law says that when you set up the committee, they must appoint by resolution a council.
I don't have the resolution on me this evening. Do you guys recall if you appointed us?
You appointed Greg.
Oh, you may have done, Greg. I'm
Sure.
trying to.
Yeah, but if it was
Yeah.
Greg, then she's in his office. I'd like to see a copy of the resolution if you could get it to me.
Right now, or is
No,
tomorrow gonna
no.
happen?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
we can
No
absolutely
problem.
provide you a copy of that. Okay, if you'll allow me to proceed?
Go ahead.
Okay. Have you ever been deposed before?
Many times.
Okay, so you recall how this process works. Just for the record though, I'd just like to reiterate how it works. It's a simple question and answer session. The committee will be asking you the questions and you'll be providing, the best answers that you can according to your
Best
recollection
recollection,
and
yes.
your honesty. Cannot speak over one another, so, because the court reporter can't record
I
when
realize
people
that.
speak over one another. If you don't remember, you can simply say that you don't remember. If you don't understand a question, you can ask for it to be repeated or rephrased. Again, you have to answer the questions to your best recollection. I do want to ask you, are you on any drugs or medication this evening?
I am on 500 milligrams. I don't remember the name of the stuff.
Okay. Do you feel that your being on that medication might impair your ability to
I don't know.
answer questions?
I've been very sleepy and at times incoherent, according to my granddaughters.
Okay. Do you wish to continue this evening in spite
Sure.
of that?
Yes.
Okay. And you do realize that that by proceeding this evening, you may leave the door open for a future instance when we might decide to get your testimony again based upon the fact that your testimony this evening might be compromised in some way?
I understand.
Okay. All right. As long as you still wish to proceed with that
Yes.
understanding, then I pass it over to the committee to go ahead.
Thank you. Mr. Eckel, how long have you lived in Dumont?
Oh. 42 years.
Where are you currently employed?
Retired.
Did you previously serve as borough administrator for the borough of Dumont?
No. I served as chief of staff. That was my title.
Thank you. During what years were you chief of staff?
I tried to recall today, but I just don't remember. I remember when I started in 1992, but I started in the building department. But I don't recall. It was about 2 years after Marvin Katz had died. I think it was the late 90s.
Okay.
I'm sure you have that on record someplace.
At any point during your tenure as chief of staff, did you ever become aware of the state of environmental contamination at DPW in Dumont?
While I was a chief of staff, no. Prior to me being the chief of staff when I worked in the building department, if that's the contamination you're talking about, there was a underground tank found by the DPW doing some excavation. It was found that it was leaking, and it was removed by the town. The soil was excavated. The town paid $40,000 to take the soil away, and then in future years, and I don't remember the year, we paved over that area where that tank was, and that's where the parking lot is for Gina's Field.
Did you know what was the cause of contamination and what?
It was an old tank that nobody from the borough, including the older guys that were there, even knew it was there.
So this was
I believe,
tank?
yeah, I believe it was from it went back as far as the sewage treatment plant that existed, that was owned jointly by Burger King and Dumont.
Do you know approximately when you became aware of that contamination?
I really wasn't involved in that. Like I said, I was working in the building department at that time, and I only remember being down at the borough garage, seeing the pile of dirt, and asking the contractor at that time, what are you going to do with that dirt? And he said, we're gonna take it to Pennsylvania, spread it out, and in 2 years we'll sell it to topsoil.
At any point during your tenure, did you ever become aware of the fact that the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection imposed certain remediation requirements on the borough in connection with that site?
Not that I recall, no. There were letters that were going back and forth from the DEP, but I don't recall any letters of that nature.
Other than what you've already mentioned about the soil being taken away, were there any other remediation efforts that the borough made to remediate the environmental contamination?
On that particular spill?
Yeah.
No, there may have been something from the DEP at one time that they said, even though we removed all the dirt, and believe me, you can ask people that live down there, the dirt was piled, I bet you 30 feet high, that's how much dirt they removed, that they said we should pave over it, which we did when we got the CD grant to do some work down at Twinborough Park.
Where?
Twinborough Park.
During your tenure, did you ever become aware of the fact that multiple monitoring wells were being installed at the DPW?
Yes. That was not for that spill out. The monitoring wells were put in after the tanks were removed from the DPW garage, and we replaced the tanks. That was done by an environmental committee, contractor, I don't recall his name right now.
Approximate time frame for that, Jack?
Oh, late 90s, early 2000s. That's when the wells were put in. In fact, there was a well put in that same area where you people allowed that cell tower to be put in.
Do you know why they put those wells in, those monitoring wells
Yeah,
in?
because there was a tank from one of the tanks, the gas tank from the DPW, John Cook had found a leak.
So what were they monitoring then?
They were monitoring gas.
Or the gas?
Gas, that's all.
Gasoline?
Gasoline.
Okay. So they weren't monitoring the water, they weren't monitoring the dirt, they weren't monitoring anything
No.
else?
In fact, I recall that I don't know how they got involved with Bergen County Sewage Authority, I believe, tested the water in the brook that runs in back of the DPW property to see if there's any sign of gasoline that leaked into the brook, and there was none.
Do you ever hear the name of EEC Environmental Inc.?
Yeah, that may be a company.
You aware that EEC was employed by the borough to install those monitoring wells at the DPW?
Oh, I don't know. I thought EEC may have been the contractor who replaced the tanks. Maybe not. That was probably a different company that put the test wells.
Are you aware that the EEC Environmental Inc. was employed by the borough to prepare a discharge investigation and a corrective action report called DICAR?
I don't recall. I'm sure, being the tanks, if the test wells were installed, they had to give reports to someone. I would hope that we didn't pay them to put the wells in and they didn't do any testing and report to somebody.
At any point during your tenure, did you ever become aware of the fact that the borough contracted Castle Excavation to move 3 underground storage tanks down there?
That's the name of the contractor,
Okay.
Castle.
So Castle's the name
Yes,
of the contractor to
Now,
extract.
he was awarded the bid. We put it out for public bid to replace the tanks, put new gas pumps in, repave that whole front area of the garage.
At any point during your tenure, did you ever become aware of the fact that the borough contracted with Metro Tank to install 2 new underground storage tanks down at DPW?
Metro Tank?
Yeah.
I thought it was that other company that you just mentioned. But had the contract with the town.
Castle Excavating was,
Yeah, I think they were the prime
Mhm.
contractors, Castle. They did the removal of the dirt, of the contaminated dirt, while the DEP was there. And they tested the dirt, and then that other company put the tanks in.
Any point during your tenure, did you ever become aware of the fact that the borough had contracted Harding Lawson Associates to prepare a remedial action work plan in connection with the remediation efforts?
What's the name of the company?
Harding Lawson Associates.
I don't recall that.
Looking around the 95-97 timeframe now. At any point during your tenure, did you ever become aware of the fact that Harding Lawson demanded approximately $37,000 from the borough for outstanding invoices on remediation work done at the DPW?
I don't recall that either.
Okay.
They sent a bill for $37,000. For what? What was it for?
That was for remediation, outstanding invoice on remediation work that was done at DPW.
Well, if he did, I wouldn't have paid it. Because that'd be outrageous for what he was charging us.
At what point during your tenure did you ever become aware of the fact that the borough refused to pay Harding Lawson for remediation work performed in connection with the contamination?
I don't recall that.
At what point did you ever become aware of the fact that the borough consulted with Leggett, Brashears, and Graham to perform work in connection with the remediation procedures at the DPW?
To do what kind of work?
Remediation work.
Well, what is remediation work? Taking soil away, testing it?
Well, let me ask you this, do you remember Leggett, Brashears, and
No,
Graham?
I don't recall that name.
Okay. At any point during your tenure, did you ever become aware of the fact that the borough entered into a memorandum of agreement with the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection
To do what?
to outline the remediation activity that the borough was required to complete in connection with the contamination of the DPW?
I don't recall that. That has to go back to late 90s?
Yeah. At any point during your tenure, did you ever become aware of the fact that the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection withdrew the memorandum of agreement because the borough failed to comply with its obligations under that agreement?
Well, if I don't recall the agreement, I'm sure I don't recall that letter either.
Oh, I asked you.
Yeah.
But you never know what clicks and what doesn't click, no? Okay. Did you ever see or any correspondence from EEC Environmental concerning the contamination at DPW?
Uh-huh.
From EEC
EEC.
Environmental.
That was the contractor that did the work.
Do you remember seeing any
That-
correspondence? That's the question.
I'm sure there was correspondence between him and Boswell Engineering, who were the engineers on the job, and whether we got copies of everything, I'm not sure.
Okay.
But it was all in, anything that there was in a folder, which was left in the file room.
Do you ever speak with anyone from EEC Environmental or otherwise concerning EEC's environmental contamination remediation employment by the borough?
That was all handled through Boswell Engineering.
You okay, Jack?
Yeah.
Do you ever see any correspondence from Harding Lawson Associates concerning the contamination remediation efforts at the DPW?
I don't recall that either. We're talking, what, 12 years?
12 years ago, yeah.
Even with a good memory and on medication, it would be hard to
Well, that's,
remember.
like I said, I don't know if it'll click or it won't click. And that's what we're going through this process to figure out what happened, what didn't happen, what fell between the cracks, and see if there are any safeguards that could be put in place to prevent this from happening again. Like Councilman Carrick said, we're looking for information to improve the process here. Did you ever speak with anyone from HLA concerning contamination or remediation?
Who is HLA? That's another company.
That's the one I mentioned earlier. HLA is Hardy Lawson Associates.
Oh, no.
Did you ever see a remedial investigation report or proposed remedial action reports prepared by HLA for the borough?
Did you ask me that before?
No. This is about documents that were produced by this company delivered to the borough. Did you ever see those? That's what I'm asking.
Dealing with the remediation work? Dealing with the remediation work?
Yeah.
Well, you asked me before if I saw something from the DEP.
Well, this is from, it's not
So,
the DEP.
that's two different,
Two different
same
things.
letter, but from.
Well, one
two
is from,
different people?
one is from the contractor.
Yeah.
Yeah. The DEP is a letter from the state.
Hmm.
So I'm asking about contractor.
No.
Okay. Did you ever see any correspondence from Leggett, Brashears, and Graham concerning contamination remediation efforts at the DPW?
I may have, I just don't recall.
Okay, that's fine. Did you ever speak with anyone from Leggett, Brashears, Graham, or otherwise concerning the contamination remediation?
Not that I recall.
Did you see any proposals prepared by Leggett, Brashears, and Graham for the borough with regard to undertaking actions that the borough was required per its memorandum of agreement with the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection?
That they would do the work? Is that what you're asking?
The outline for work that had to be done.
Just the outline of work that would be done.
Yeah. The
Not that I
proposal
recall.
prepared by LBG.
No, not that I recall.
Did you ever see any correspondence from the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection concerning contamination remediation requirements at Dumont DPW? The requirements from the state to the borough.
Well, that's what you asked me before.
No. This is a correspondence directly coming from the state in relationship to the remediation requirements done by the contractors to the town.
For which spill?
For 97, no, one between 95 and 97, or one from 90 to 93. Either one.
I'm sure we had correspondence back and forth from the DEP. It's normal, because they select the senior bills on every letter they sent out. But I don't recall, I don't recall that.
That's what okay, that's what I checked. Did you ever see any correspondence from the DPW employees concerning contamination at the DPW?
From the borough employees?
Yes.
No.
Did you ever speak with any of the DPW employees concerning the contamination at the DPW?
Did I speak to them?
Yes.
Of course I did. I told them about the cars that they stored down there, police cars that were stored down there that were in automobile accidents, that were deemed totaled. They were laying there along with other cars that the town was getting rid of, some of which I saw leaking gasoline. And I told them, you gotta clean that up or put something underneath it to get the gas.
Was there a process or a procedure that they had to do that, or was that just something that was just done?
It was something that nobody ever bothered looking at.
Right.
But one day I was down there with the engineer, Bible Engineering, and we looked and there were a bunch of trucks and cars that we were auctioning off,
Mm-hmm.
and some of them were leaking gas. And we told them, we can't have that, they gotta empty out the gas.
Did they put that as part of their checklist of
They were
things to
told
do after
to.
that? Okay.
They were told to not to keep any cars or trucks in the vicinity of the garage. It's not too far from that was Burke.
Did you attend any meetings wherein the contamination or the remediation of the Dumont DPW was discussed?
Yes, when Marvin Katz was the administrator. and they discussed, awarding the job to that contractor that removed the dirt, and firing Joe Ferriero.
Did you discuss the Dumont DPW contamination with the members of the Dumont Borough Council or the mayor at the time?
I'm sure I did on occasion.
What was Boswell's input on all this? I mean, you know.
Boswell was the engineer for the town, as you know, who was in charge of the whole project. He oversaw the removal of the tanks, the installation of the new tanks, and the removal of the contaminated dirt at the DPW. He wasn't involved in the first tank removal.
Did he provide you as chief of staff or the mayor and council with updates as to the status of the
I'm sure he did.
remediation?
He was good at writing letters, I'm sure he did.
Matt, you have anything?
Just a couple, Joe.
Yeah.
Who actually found the tanks now?
Which?
The first tank that you said you found and you removed.
I think, as I recall, they were digging up something where the parking lot is for Genus Field. That was a dirt area where people parked their trucks, and the DPW was digging something up for some reason, and they found the tank. Then Grossbeck was chief. He happened to be down there, and the fire department was called. The fire department called the DEP, I think, and that's how it all started to remove the tank. Nobody knew it was there.
That was the first tank that was found?
That was the first tank.
So Boswell was involved?
No, he wasn't involved in that.
But the DEP was involved?
Yeah.
In the first one?
That's why we removed the dirt.
What was in the tank?
Gas.
What kind of fuel? Regular gas?
Yeah. Not much. Most of it, as I recall, was water. The tank, when we took it out, there was a guy there that took tanks away. He said that tank looked like 60 years old.
Did they say how much fuel could have been in there, or what size the tank was?
It was only a 500-gallon tank. Small tank.
At that time, you said you were chief of staff. Was there a borough administrator at the time?
No, I wasn't then at that site.
Okay.
You're Marvin Katz.
Okay. What was your position at that time?
I was doing housing inspections for the town.
Did this topic ever come up in a public meeting?
I didn't attend public meetings then.
When they were removing the tank, the DEP was present all the time?
The first tank?
Yes.
No. Not the well, I really can't say, but I wasn't down there supervising the tank being taken out. I just happened to be there when this all occurred. That they found the tank, and then I was down there another time when the big pile of dirt was there.
There was another tank found down there too, right? There was 2 tanks found?
No. There was one tank down there. Just one. The other tanks that were removed were the gas tanks for the DPW garage.
Were there any 55-gallon drums found down there?
55-gallon drums that were there was water that was stored when the testing company tested the water of the wells. He put it into 55-gallon drums. The only conversation I ever remember having with him, it was that company that did that. He said that he had called the BCUA to get permission to dump that water in the brook because it had no gasoline in it. He was supposed to take the tanks away, those drums away, which he didn't, and some of them actually rotted away.
When you said they found the first tank, if just your recollection, who gave the order to have it removed?
I have no idea. I told you, I was in the building department,
I just thought maybe through the building everybody talked.
no.
In fact, to be honest, that's all I have for you, because I can't get answers.
Well, I
What
gave you
really-
the answers. I
No,
thought-
you did, Jack,
Yeah.
but since you're not part of it, since you're saying you weren't
Yeah.
there, I need the person, or persons, who were
The
directly
person that
involved.
had to give permission to remove that tank was Marvin Katz.
He was the borough administrator.
Yes, he was the administrator.
Would that, if I'm not asking, would the direction have come through the mayor and council?
No. I don't think Marvin needed the permission to do that. Maybe he needed the permission to order the dirt removed because it involved $40,000.
So
But
you
haven't
don't
tanked
feel
them
that
out?
he would have to go to the mayor?
No. No. Why? Then wait for another public meeting, have the tank leak out more gas?
No, I
They
believe
took out that tank. The day after they found it, that tank was out.
well, since it was with it. They found the tank,
Mm-hmm.
they had the DEP there the same day,
Day after.
and then the following day that tank was removed.
Yeah.
Was the tank cut and filled with
Was
sand
cut?
and then taken out?
No. No, you didn't. If you take it out, you don't fill with sand. When you take it out, you clean the inside of it with rags. If you leave the tank in the ground, that's the procedure you follow, filling it with the sand. But if you take a tank out, the whole inside of that tank, you have to cut the top of the tank open, clean that tank, and then you can cut it up. Then you've got to give the DEP a copy of a sheet that you've turned it into an environmental company to get rid of it.
So not being part of it, but you knew that it was found.
Well, I
one
know
day.
that's the procedure because I was up in the building.
No, I'll go with that part. But it was found one day, the DEP came in, and the tank was removed and taken away.
Yeah. Actually, you don't need permission from the DEP to take the tank out of the ground.
Maybe
You
I'm
need
wrong in this
no,
state.
you need
but
a permit to take.
let me just, please, maybe I'm wrong in this state, but in the state of New York, you do need the DEP involved in it.
No.
And they do have to get permission to remove the tank.
When you have a tank here, and you want to take it, say in a house, you want to take the tank out, you got to get a permit. It's got to be a company that's registered with the state to remove tanks. If they cut the tank open on the top and fill it with sand, the building inspector has to go look at it. If they take the tank out, the building inspector has to go see that it was clean and then cut up. The DEP does not have to be told.
My mind's fuzzy, but were you the building inspector or the housing inspector?
Housing inspector, but I learned all that up there.
Who was the building inspector at the time?
Tony Parada.
I'm just trying to think, I'm sorry.
Jack, I just want to go back to something that you had said, Matt. Is it your recollection that the borough administrator didn't have to come before the mayor and council to do these things?
To take the tank out? No.
Not to take the tank out, but to proceed with the cost that was involved with that tank.
No, I didn't say that. I said he didn't need permission to from the mayor and council to take the tank out. But he would have to go to the mayor and council to spend the $40,000 to have the dirt taken away.
Okay, that wasn't very clear, you
Yes.
stated that. And for any other remediation that was done, that had to come before the council also. Is that
There was
right?
no other remediation on that site, on the first site.
Second site.
On the second site?
Yeah.
Well, that was all done by the contractor that the town awarded the job for. He got paid X amount of dollars to take out the old tanks, take the contaminated dirt out, put the new tanks in, had the DEP
I got
there.
it. My question is, did that come before the mayor and the council to get authorization to spend that money to get that done?
Of course it did, it was a public bid.
And why wasn't the bills paid? That's,
Who, its own castle?
um,
You're not telling me that 10 years later you went to you and said,
no, Martin Lawson.
well, he wasn't the
Martin
contractor.
Lawson's Associates.
I'm not aware of
Martin
it.
Lawson's Associates.
Is he saying that the town still owes him money too?
No, he's saying that, as we went through the process of uncovering the documentation,
Mm-hmm.
there was an issue between them being paid and not being paid. At that
Maybe
time.
they didn't deserve to get paid all of it.
Well, I'm asking, if a bid had gone out, the mayor and council would have had to authorize that bid
That,
and accept the bid back from the contractor for them to do the work, correct? So if they were putting invoices in for that contract, the question then arises then, did the mayor and council authorize that? And then the follow-up question would be, did they do the work? To complete it?
I have no idea.
Okay, that's fine. You know, I touched upon this before as far as procedure with the DPW down there. Do you know who the direct supervisor of the DPW was at that time, or the superintendent?
John Cook.
John Cook? The early nineties and the late nineties?
No, maybe not. Mike Letizia was there before John.
So that would be like the early nineties?
Yeah.
90 to
Mike
95,
Letizia,
94,
and then John Cook took over after him.
approximately?
I can't remember years, but John was there quite a while.
You as chief of staff, who did you report directly to? Did you report to the business administrator or the mayor or both?
We had no business administrator. I reported to the mayor and council. To the best of your recollection, what was the general chain of command relating to the activities down at the DPW? You know, relating to payment of invoices that were directly involved with work that was being done at the DPW. All invoices went to Boswell Engineering. He approved them. It was then sent up to my office. I looked at it and then sent him a payment. It was all based upon, it was monthly invoices, based upon how much work he accomplished during that month.
So let me just follow up on that. So, Boswell get paid and then he paid the contractors, or?
No. Boswell only approved the amount of money that he was requesting for that month.
That he was requesting?
Yeah, that the contractor was requesting.
Well, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Who, that's what we're trying to figure out.
You said, yeah, we didn't give no money to Boswell.
Well, that's what I'm asking. How did that process go? Did Boswell submit a bill, or did he submit, an invoice of work accomplished?
Boswell would take an invoice, Castle Engineering site,
Yeah,
and send the bill to Boswell. Boswell would say, okay, you did $40,000 worth of work, that's what you billed. He approves it. Then it came up to the Borough Hall for payments.
When John Cook was in the DPW, who did he report directly to? Who supervised him? To you?
and so that all the work that was being done down there, I guess the mid to late nineties, John should have been giving you statuses and updates of what was being done down there with reference to this.
I went down and watched the construction, the installation of the tanks. I was there when they removed the dirt. John had too many other things to do. That's what we pay Boswell to supervise the construction.
Who monitored the wells?
Test wells?
Yes.
One of those companies, I got a site, I don't recall.
Did you receive reports from them as far as the status of?
You asked me that already, I'm not aware of the company that did it, don't remember it, or receiving any invoice, I'm sure we did.
Accepting that you don't remember that,
Mhm.
were any of those reports made available to the mayor and council either through a work session or a public meeting?
Were they made available? Yes.
Were they?
Were they given to the mayor?
Yes.
No.
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 Were
They didn't show anything.
Say
They
that again?
didn't show anything. Some of them showed, well, I think the one that showed the most is the one where you put that tower up. There was a test well there. You put that on that property where there was a test well. That one showed some contamination, gasoline only. But the further wells, where there was a well down near that office building down there, and in the parking lot for the Knights of Columbus,
Mhm.
they showed nothing.
This is what I'm trying to get at, John. Was there a tracking of that plume, a gasoline plume underground?
Mm-hmm. Was there a tracking?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the further you went down towards the brook, the furthest away from the tanks at DPW, less gasoline showed in the test wells. That's what I recall.
How long were you the housing inspector?
4 years.
And your next role was?
Marvin Katz got sick in the hospital, and they just watched things around the borough hall.
So did you
And I don't recall what the year I started as chief of staff.
Is chief of staff the same as borough administrator?
No.
Is there a difference?
Oh, yes, there is.
Okay.
You have the ordinance creating the chief of staff, and I was in charge of the day-to-day operations at the Borough Hall, the DPW, and everything else other than the police department.
As the chief of staff, did you attend council meetings?
Yeah, I was also borough clerk.
Okay. At council meetings, did you give an updated report on what was going on down at the DPW?
At the executive sections, yes, I did.
And did you give it in a meeting outside in the public as a liaison or whatever you worked
No,
at?
no.
Was there any reason that the
Board.
public wasn't brought up to what was going on?
Yeah, there was nobody at the meetings.
No, I believe.
I mean, the council would say to me, well, what's going on at the DPW? And I'd say, well, we're buying our gas from Bergenfield. You know, we've excavated the hole, we moved the tanks. The council always asked me what was going on down there.
When there were issues there, who was the DPW liaison?
I don't remember. It may have been Tom Mano.
Was he in on everything, or did you pretty much oversee things yourself because of everything?
Oh, I always kept in touch with Tom on what was going on.
So during that time, if Tom Allen was the liaison, would he have known about the memorandum of agreement with the state?
If it came here, I'm sure if it came to my office, everybody got a copy. But I don't recall it ever coming in. Do you have it?
Megan, you have a copy of that memorandum of agreement?
Let me turn it on.
Can you find it for me, please?
Do you want some water or something?
Yeah, I got it.
You mind if you just get to drink water? It's fine.
Imagine it's not very dry.
straight ahead,
I have
and,
no idea.
to the, that
Do we
door,
have a water
straight.
fountain?
There's a water fountain, there's a cooler on the left.
Get to the left, Jack.
No, with the,
Yeah, go right through the door.
yeah, the door's open.
Yeah, it should be open.
No,
Go straight
you
through
said
that
the
door.
office and the, I don't think it's open.
Locked? Yeah, that's where the water cooler is.
Oh.
Decency to give the guy some water. He's sitting there.
Thank you, Mr. Lucarelli. You're not testifying, I would appreciate if you kept
I'm a
quiet.
member of the public, and
I
I made,
understand that,
and I
and the
made a
public hasn't
comment
been
that it's
invited to
common
make
decency
comment.
to give the gentleman who you're
And it
deposing
wasn't
water.
weren't made available for you
Is
to
there
speak.
misdemeanor with this
I
office?
appreciate if you
Is
keep
this
quiet.
office open, maybe he has something.
You said you wanted your attorney here to speak, wait for your attorney, then you can speak. Yeah, we'll both ways.
That's to be fair. As a member of the public, I will say what I want here.
Unless you're
It's
invited
common
to.
decency to give a gentleman a glass of water who you're deposing. I never saw such a thing.
Well, we've never saw such things either.
Nobody's there. All of them?
Yeah.
Everybody wants one?
Mike needs one.
How'd you like that name like that, Jacob?
Did you give him a copy of the
Yeah,
NOI?
I gave him a
Okay,
copy.
we should, let's mark that as an exhibit.
Sorry, Jack, stop the labor.
Thanks.
One, and did you hit that? Is that it, you need it, all done?
Um,
Good job.
Mr. Eckel, you were just, provided with a copy of the, memorandum of agreement that was entered, on behalf of the borough in early 1997, so I'm just going to mark that as Exhibit A.
Okay.
Let me just, we can get you another copy.
This memorandum of agreement is for, what? What site?
DPW site.
Yeah, but what, we have two different sites now.
Is the date on that?
Well, you know, by the date, 1997.
1997.
Yeah.
It gives a lot and block number on it, but
One Aladdin Avenue. On the second page.
one Aladdin Avenue could be,
In Borough View.
no, I don't think that answers the question.
Well, it also provides a block and lot number.
Yeah, but
Yeah. Lots.
are you aware what those are?
Well, that would be the general area from, the DPW across down.
Both sites, that encompasses both sites?
I would say definitely for DPW lot and area that's adjacent to the lot.
It appears from this that it's all reports that they want. I don't read nothing where it says remedial work, such as paving over the area or anything else, removing of any contaminated soil. Did you read this, Frank? It's all submittal of documents.
Third paragraph.
In the findings number 3, Jeff.
Just read that into the record.
How'd you read it?
Read it.
The intent of this memorandum.
I can read it.
Okay.
It's all reports, that's what we're looking for. Preliminary assessment, site investigation, remedial investigation, remedial action. What's the remedial action that they want it done?
It's a remedial action plan.
Huh?
It would be the remedial action plan of what the work needs to be done.
Well, what is it?
You
What
were part of
work
that
had to be
from-
done?
What did have to be done, that's, I guess our question is to you. What
What?
work was to be done down there?
What was done or what?
What was to be done? That they were asking you for a remedial action plan of what was gonna go on. You did go into this with them.
I have no idea. Usually the DEP tells you, I want this, 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 and that done. And then you do it. I don't see nothing where it says what the borough was supposed to do.
Well,
I
if
mean,
you got a
if there
letter
was-
from the DEP, they would probably direct you on what needs to be done. The question that Councilman Mata asked you is if you ever had a memorandum of agreement, and then you had said that it was never one passed around.
I don't recall it, no.
But do you recall it now that you see it?
No. No, I don't.
So let me just go back just one more. When you were in that position, you reported to the mayor?
Yeah.
The mayor's signature's on that.
No, I said I report to the mayor and council.
Okay, but you reported to him. What I'm saying is, trying to say is, Mayor Weiner's signature's on this.
Matt, can you remember what you did 13 years ago?
Yes, I celebrated my son's
Yeah,
one-year
yeah.
birthday. I
Those
was
type
building
things you
a
remember.
Bed Bath & Beyond on 61st Street and 6th Avenue, and I worked like 80, 90 hours a week.
Well, I guess that pretty much we're looking.
If this came into the borough, I'm sure that everybody on the council got a copy of it.
But it did, Jeff, and that's what we're trying to say. It's there, it's legal.
1996. The
Jeff,
borough-
if you don't recall, that's fine too.
I don't recall it.
That's fine. All was just being stated is that you asked if there was one, and there was one. It had to have been passed around this room. It was signed by the mayor. Everybody, at least that I know of, and even when Mayor Weiner was in there, I know explained everything to everybody in public session what was going on. So I'm sure that he presented this to the council and to you. You're right, Jack, it was 13 years ago. You could have forgotten. Remedial work is
You're all
what needs
aware
to
of
be
how
done.
much mail comes into the borough in a day.
But Jack, this is not just mail. This is the state of New Jersey sending out
Oh,
an
I-
important document. It's not just like somebody sending you coupons in the mail.
Yeah, okay.
Let's
Is there contamination down at that site?
I'm sorry?
Is there contamination down at that site?
There's low readings down at that site, Jack.
Where do you get those readings from? From test wells?
Yes.
Then how could you people allow that tower to be put up where it is
Go ahead, sorry.
when there's contamination found in the wells?
Jack, the DEP reached out to us. We didn't reach out to them. They wanted to know why we didn't complete this.
But why do you allow that tower to be put up down there?
We didn't have anything at the time on that, Jack. There
Hmm?
was nothing there at the time. We did nothing on it. We didn't know there was anything there.
That tower was just put up a couple of months ago. You knew about, you've been playing around with this thing for months.
That tower's been up there for a while, yes.
Now, it doesn't matter. We can very easily get the data when the tower
Okay.
goes up.
The point is this, Chair. We're trying to find out why
The point is this,
remediation was not completed after there was a letter of memorandum of agreement with the state to monitor those wells until the contamination has been taken care of.
I already answered you.
I'm
I
not-
told you,
I'm not
I told you the wells, as I recall, our last testing of the wells and the water was taken out of the wells. We had no contamination, except for the ones closest to, the front of the DPW garage.
When did that stop? That's what we're trying to figure out, because the DEP was looking for reports on whether or not those wells and that contamination was dealt with. That's why they came back to us, because
Well-
the file wasn't closed.
Who's the company that was testing the wells?
That's what we're trying to ascertain here, whether or not they continued doing what they were supposed to be doing.
Did you contact them? Did they have reports on it?
We have reports for what they did, to the point that they weren't being paid anymore.
That's when they ceased their work.
And what
They
did it
stopped
show,
getting
what did it
paid.
show at the
And
time
then-
they ceased their work?
Well, wait a minute. Then that job was given over to John Cook to monitor those wells. And then John gave that job to Billy Ebernack. So, you know,
John wasn't capable of
that's
testing
my
wells.
point. And that's
And neither
why-
was Billy
And
Ebernack.
that's the point here.
And
They
no
were
one-
doing this and putting those water samples into those 55-gallon
Yeah.
containers.
We
And
did
there
not
was
do
no,
that.
there was no monitoring
We
of what
did
was
not
coming
do
out
that.
of there.
That company put the water into those drums. We didn't do that. And John Cook, I know, did not empty those wells out.
That may be a point of contention, but that's neither here nor there. Problem is that, nothing was wrapped up with this thing. The memorandum of agreement expired,
Mm-hmm.
and there was nothing ever done after that.
Did the town get fined?
No.
No.
This is to find out how we can prevent a situation that should have been monitored and resolved, just went by the wayside.
Well, that could have, you know, are you aware of, up at Chestnut Bend, how long was that going on?
That went on for about 6 or 7 years.
No, you live up there, you should know.
They
That
had the-
went
they
on
had
for
the pump-
20 years.
No, they had the pumps there for 7 years.
Let me tell you, from the time it started,
Yes,
started
from the
when I
time it
was
started,
mayor.
that's right, right.
In
Until
1980,
it started, right.
it was still going on in 2002. Shell Oil spent $1 million cleaning it up.
And there were seven participants in that. I know.
Yeah.
And they pumped the ground every day, and they put it through the purifier, and I know. But that's not what we're talking about.
No. Hopefully we'll never have anything like this again.
Well, the DEP still monitors those wells up there. So,
We're down at the DPW?
no, up at, Chestnut.
Oh, yeah, they have a machine out
Yeah.
They installed a machine that separates the gasoline from the water. The water is put into the surge system, into the storm sewer, and the gasoline is burned up in the machine.
Do you have any other questions, Matt?
No.
Ellen?
I appreciate you coming and speaking. All we wanted was...
I'm sorry I didn't say, I only met you once,
Oh,
and I didn't know who you were
oh,
at first.
I know, that's what I always said, we've never met each other, really. I appreciate you coming tonight, and as you can see, all we really wanted was some answers to questions.
I always said back to last year, All you had to do is say, Jack, come in, we want to discuss this. There was no need for a subpoena.
Jack, I agree, there's probably no reason for a subpoena. It was good of you to come in like this, and without an attorney, and to answer questions that were very simple.
And I could've went to the check came for it.
And Mike,
I mean it sincerely, appreciate you coming in and
Right.
answering the questions we needed to
Hey,
answer.
listen, we all live in town, we're all concerned about the town. You know, any of yous that come up here and serve as council people, give yous all a lot of credit, it's not an easy job. You end up making more people mad at you than you will of making friends.
My wife don't talk to me, so.
Yeah.
Thank you,
But-
Jack.
Yo,
Much appreciated.
Max, take it easy.
Oh,
Okay, take it easy.
Counsel?
Okay, yeah, well, you've recorded the first half, so I guess we may as well just wrap it up on the tail end of it. Okay, so the committee just obtained, the testimony of Jack Eckel. We've already discussed all of the other matters that we needed to address this evening, so I don't know if anyone has any statements they would like to make at this time.
Councilman Carrick?
I had a statement prepared, but the statement I want to say, I'm just upset that we need to have an attorney present just to ask questions. I'm sorry, Mike, I'm sorry. It was very simple with Jack. All we were just asking was, do you remember what went on? And what can we do? As far as hiring a criminal attorney, this is not a criminal matter.
Councilman Carrick, if you address me, Councilman Mann, am I allowed to respond since he addressed the question to me?
If you'd like, if you feel that you're not going to be jeopardizing the fact that you don't have your attorney here.
No, he posed the question
Yes, I did, Mike.
about having an attorney, not
Yes.
about the
No.
not about the
No, that's fine.
DPW situation.
No, Mike, why answer your question, please?
Okay. With all due respect, if you have an attorney representing you here and the committee, I am smart enough not to play another man's game and to subject myself as a common citizen without proper representation. If you didn't want me to have an attorney, why do you need an attorney here? Why didn't the three of you just say, we're having question and answer, and I would come in? You have an attorney. I'm smart enough to know that an attorney is smarter than me in the field of law. That's all there is to it.
Michael, the only reason that we had an attorney was that if something came up that we needed to lead to them, there was no need. We could talk this all out. You don't need an attorney. If we were doing something wrong or you were doing something, then council would step in. This was just a simple, what's going on, why can't we just get to the bottom of it? She's not a criminal attorney. We're not going nowhere with this. What we're doing is just trying to ask some simple questions. You gentlemen were involved. You remember what happened more so than us. What's going on in the town right now, we know more so than what you do. So we're just trying to ask you simple questions. We didn't need an attorney to defend us. I keep saying she, has not had to step in and ask anything.
You have one. Therefore, that's the answer. It's as simple as that.
Are you going to answer the questions freely, or are you going to ask your attorney for advice on your questions?
That I won't speculate on. That when that time comes, we'll see.
So that's where the difference between me and you will come. I won't go to my attorney to ask a question. I'll direct the question strictly at you. And I'll answer what you ask me without asking my attorney for advice. This is just people talking in a room. I know Don a lot of years. To be honest with you, I voted for him in his first election. I remember him and Gary coming by my house. All we're doing is just asking questions. I don't need to ask her what's going on or what I should know. I'm not hiding, and I'm not saying you are, but I'm not hiding behind an attorney. I'm asking simple questions, get to the bottom of them, okay, and just see how we can do this, not to have this problem again.
Councilman Mann, can I respond to that, since the councilman who just spoke addressed something to me?
Be my guest.
You said something twice here tonight, that there's something to hide for Bob Gallantucci being a criminal attorney. The fact of the matter is, Bob Gallantucci is an excellent attorney, who we went to because we were concerned that when the subpoenas were first issued last year, that they were done illegally, that the mayor and council did in fact not have the power to pursue the avenue they pursued. We went to Mr. Gallantucci, who very clearly pointed out to the borough attorney, Greg Pastor, cited case after case of how the mayor and council, in and of themselves, do not have the power to conduct hearings. I submit to you that Mr. Gallantucci was correct, because the governing body, at Mr. Pastor's recommendation, took a different course of action in April of this year. Took until September for this to happen. Now listen, right now, Mr. Gallantucci and us still have legal problem with your proceedings as to whether or not the substitution of Councilmember Stiliano with Councilmember was done legally. We still have an issue, and possibly whether or not the borough attorney was appointed correctly as special counsel. So he is here to make sure, not to us to look at him, to make sure that these proceedings are conducted legally.
But John, excuse me, I'm getting it with my mind. He's already made the attempt that the second week of November is good for him to come in now. That must mean that these are legal proceedings. Where is he going with it now? If it's okay the second week of November, why isn't it okay tonight? What he could be telling you the same thing, I'm sorry, Mike. What he's telling you is if he can come in the second week, then these proceedings are legal, and you can do what you need to do.
Any comment?
I'm sorry, Michael, go ahead.
Just in defense of Mr. Gallantucci, you made a comment before that was a bit disparaging about him being able to accommodate you. He was under a trial, and last week he lost his mother-in-law. Okay, so he does have his plate full. We couldn't even contact him. So in defense of him and his reputation, you can check whatever the comment was before. It was a bit condescending and disparaging, and I'm just defending that with what I know as to why this has been delayed.
It's understandable.
That's all.
But not at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the night of the case, that he sends it. I had to go to Maryland because we have somebody that was dying, but I drove Saturday and came back last night. And if he needed to do so, not at 3 o'clock, he could have done this last Friday. So listen, I'm sorry. We will all understand.
Ask him for the second week.
I'm saying what you threw for him, I'm just saying the same.
Nobody's disparaging anybody here. We're just making a comment based on observation. Everybody has issues. Everybody has family. Everybody has problems. We're here because we want to get to the bottom of what happened and how we can prevent it from happening again. The legality of this, Don, if this wasn't legal, we wouldn't be doing this. You know that. Your attorney would have said that. Our attorney would have said that. We're not here to look to hang somebody from a tree. We're looking here to find out what happened and how it can be prevented in the future. That's it. Bottom line. Whether you think so or not, Don, that's it. You know, we can wrangle over legalities and who said what and I mean, we can do that until the cows come home. The bottom line is we have an issue that has to be addressed under the DPW. Bottom line. And we don't want to have that issue again 10 years from now. Whether it's at DPW, whether it's at Twin Borough Field, whether it's at any of the other locations in town. That's all. You know, to make this into something bigger than it is not right. Now, do you have anything else to say? Yeah. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned until the next scheduled meeting, which will contact the attorneys and figure out what date is good for everyone. Thank you all very much.